Hey everybody, this is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine. It's like holy crap. It's like 3 a.m. It's almost 4 a.m. where I am on April 24th, 2023. And I wanted to do an update video because I made a video a couple of days ago saying I'm breaking their SH star T stuff, and it's true. While it is true, making those videos complicates things because I've got a team on me that's like wet works. They're like black ops wet works, and I'm sure a lot of y'all have that same feeling. They're very violent, and when I show them up like that, and I said it on the video, it makes it a lot more complicated. So they're still hurting me with them. It's different. It's like the one in the I have one in the back of each clavicle, and then I'm kind of confused still about the ears, but they can amp up my brain still and make me real angry. It's just like they have to do it right when I wake up. They have to do this right when I wake up because the magnet falls off. But all day long, if I can do the right upkeep, then they can't. It's like they don't even touch me barely. It's like they're trying to turn things up just so I'll know they're there. But it's complicated. It's complex because these are biometric devices like wired up through lead scars in my body, and I'm using this huge magnet, right? So it's hard to know exactly where it's going to end up. It is working. It's working like big time, but you've got these Satanists, right, on the human operators on this microwave equipment, and they're like scared. It seems to be from the psyop part of the chatterbox, it's all about this guy. This guy is like, I'm gonna get fired. I don't want to. I'm not going to jail, right? They even shut off my phone because they were gonna attempt. Like when I went to sleep, they tried to shut off my phone because I think my situation and maybe some of our situations are so big that like the NSA, like on the surface intelligence agents are looking into these situations. So they shut off my phone so that either gang stalkers could not hear what I was saying, or like there maybe some above board agencies are like hooked into my phone and they didn't want proof of like me being murdered, right? Didn't get close to it. They're not even getting close, but the guy on the V2K is still going, this will be the last one, right? This will be the last one. He means like this will be the last human we go ahead and make crazy and kill and ruin our country, and then I'll move on and then I'll become good. He keeps saying he'll become good after that. Most of it's psyop. Um, but I wanted to say that this is working, but it's so bizarre. It's taken so long. And it's like, I want to give y'all updates. I want to be like, okay, well, it's working like this, but it's still like, I'm like, do I have one in my ear? They're tricking it so much that to come on and give y'all updates is just, it's not working, right? And it gets them pissed off so that they push things like I had no ringing sound, but then they push some of the biometrics and like I think they're even well, I'm not going to go into the complication because it is crazy. It's crazy even for targeting to talk about like this kind of scenario that I'm trying to break these things and then they're it's like I can break especially the ones in my teeth like I've broken them but they can turn them on and then right when I put the magnet on it's like they peter out, right? And then some of them like the big one in my colon it's like they turn it up and it makes me feel nauseous and it makes all these muscles like in my chest feel grab, but it'll like peter out, right? It's like since I've hit it with the magnet, it can't just stay on in a consistent manner. So I've screwed up the biometrics, but they're like they're losing grip on like the mind control. They can still boot like really resonate my brain to a negative level where I'm like angry and shit and stuff like that. But they don't have the consistent mind control going, which is huge. It's like the hugest thing. What a miracle, right? But they're fighting the miracle, and that one of the women's voices on the psyop, chatterbox is like we're trying to kill a miracle. Like he keeps on healing from stuff that no, So it's very bizarre. I wrote something down, and I just wanted to do that because it's better. I'm more in control, right? But they can really hurt me if I yell at this guy because he's like a Mason, and it's Masons on here. A lot of Masons are on this equipment. So you got a conflict of interest. You have a cult that they've been like their higher brain functions have been turned off and they work by the reptilian brain. So they're like inverted and they're more parasites, right? They're creating parasitical organisms, and these men and women who like think of themselves as new men and women, they're actually parasites and devolved, but they think of themselves as more evolved because they have the will to destroy their country, kill innocent people within their country, shit like that. Like the crap that all these Satanists are doing to destroy our country. I find that it inverted, right? The whole thing's inverted. Like our system is inverted. And the reason why everything's going to be inverted is because AI is running everything in our system. It's making the decisions, right? So, I mean, we're dealing with some big stuff here. God is with me. God is with you. God is with us, and He's given me abundant strength. This vessel, right, and this mind, the meat that's on this secular world has been not given a break, right? And I'm fighting something that's so bizarre and so worse than rape or murder. It's like a serial killer. And this, hey, let me throw another irony. I'm kind of bouncing around here, but the main point of this video is like, yeah, I'm breaking their stuff, but when I made that last video, it made things more complicated. I have complicated variables in here and a lot of biometrics that are tied together in my body in a pretty sophisticated way. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit, and I'm like, oh, because I get it some days where it's like I think I've got it for good, and they're not tricking me about like breaking the biometrics or anything, but it's not as good. It's so much slower than I want it to be, right? And they're weird and dangerous in my body. Now, if I had a doctor, like some low agents on the totem pole, and even these people, butchering me, they were butchering me. Now I'm trying to heal up, but my body's really tired. They don't have as much power on me. But they know where the biometrics are in my body. Doctors know. Like when I go in, doctors are notified. One doctor gave me Pepto-Bismol and he wouldn't tell me anything about it because they're so scared, right? But if a doctor said, "Hey, this is where the biometrics are in your body," done. Because I'm wasting my time on leads. Like I'm putting the magnets on, and I have to put them on there for a long time. But also, and so this, I know a lot of y'all are getting kind of tired of hearing about this. So that's why I don't want to do constant updates, and I'm just not quite sure. Like I'm in a war, so the social media thing adds like this variable layer. But I mean, right now I'm going to post and make video right now that I'm aware of. Um, I hope y'all are all doing good with y'all situations. I wrote something down earlier. This is just so inverted, and it's everything's going to grow and saturate to be inverted and satanic, right? The guy on my V2K, he acts like this is his burden to bear, like, and I'm sure that's part of the psyop, right? He uses this like I've got to do this and stuff, and especially when he gets me amped up and like I'm yelling in my condo, he tones it down, and he's like, oh, see, we're revealing him. Like, so by mind controlling me and shredding my body for like 40 years, he's like, we're revealing who he really is. Like, so it's so inverted. He lies about everything. And then he'll like do this thing. And I'm pretty sure it's all just psyop, but he does it to the woman. He's like, trust me, this guy has to go. Like, I want him out of there, right? But they incapacitate me, so I can't get out of the condo. He means he wants me in the ground. And then I told him, I said, okay, Craven, this is going to be your fucking last hunt. Like, Craven's last hunt where he wants to bury Spider-Man. Even if that guy buries me in the ground, I will dig my way up and I will find him and I will end. And I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying any of that. These people are demons, though. They're like devils. They're not real humans. I mean, they're real humans, but it's like the processes that they go through, like in the military and these cults, it does something psychological, not by microwaves, but by brainwashing, where it takes away their higher brain functions. We need to be at a high resonance to connect with God and to do the right things. So it brings them all the way down to low resonance. Now they're parasitical, right? And I've experienced it off of this guy. He's trying, like, I'm a light in the world. Like, I'm high resonance. That's how I was born as. Not now. Like, I'm, like that. And that's not how it's going to end. But like I see the parasitical nature in these things that are doing this. They like need to do this to good people because what's taken them from infinite power and infinite regeneration, it's been cut off because you need to be at a high resonance and your higher brain functions need to be working and healthy to connect with God. So they've turned these people into literal organic parasites. I'm not paraphrasing or metaphor. I'm not metaphorically speaking. They're turning like humans, mammals into parasites, and they have to fucking hurt people. Excuse my language. They have to hurt people to feel like a normal person like me and you. We feel good when we're around our family or helping somebody. The inversion, right? When we're helping people, when we're lifting them up, we feel whole, right? They feel a different thing. When they're tearing people down or feeding off of their lives, not like in an energetic way, but in a like they're making money for doing it and all that stuff. They feel whole, right? They've created our system because the hierarchy are parasites. The hierarchy are soulless parasites. So that's the way it's going to work. When they create a system, and especially when they program the AI, the people who are leaders are going to be parasites, right? They're not going to be good men and women. That's why the system is captured, like Dr. Horton always talks about. She was right on the money, right out of the gate. It's a captured system. You got Jim Jordan's in there, and he's this really good politician trying to help our country, but they're very few and far between. The system's saturating with corruption and Satanists who they go into cults and stuff like that, and then they lose their higher brain function and their high resonance. It kind of brings me to a point. Human beings work on high resonance, right? And we don't understand frequencies too well. Like human beings, so like we tell people we're targeted by microwaves, by certain type, and people are like, "Oh, you're mentally ill." So we don't understand biofields. We don't understand the biology of our extended biological nature, right? We're all dumb to that. Even me. I'm trying to learn, but there's no science books. And since they're inverting our knowledge and inverting science, right? Like terrorism and Satanism and taking high-powered microwaves and killing people in their sleep is now considered science, right? So we're inverting science to like, we're going to crush y'all's brains. We're getting a psychopath behind neuroweapons. A psychopath, like somebody, like psychopaths who have abnormal psychology, psychopathic, they're mapping like normal people's brains and going, these people are terrorists and they're insane, right? So that's completely inverted. How are we going to get that data, right? Because they don't care. The people up top do not care. This data is sucked out and they get what they want from it. And then they make bioweapons to murder people with our certain genetics and the type of brains we have and everything like that. These people, these things, these demons, like on these human operators, and I forgot where I was going with that, but it was very important. They can still kind of mess with my memory and stuff like that. Still do eat on them. I'm very suspicious and almost 100% that there's one in my left ear. And it's not going up to as much power as it did at the beginning, but it can amp me. It's straight to my brain, and it can like amp up my brain to where like I'm angry. And a piece of evidence of that, some people have been talking to me. I got to text some people back about like Dr. Hoffer. And when I went to Dr. Hoffer, I noticed something extremely suspicious, extremely. And now he helped me. He gave me ways so I would go to. He's not a bad person. He's not trying to hurt targeted individuals or anything like that. But when he went to look into my ears, he did not look into my ears, and that's why I was there. I was like, I have the tinnitus like sound, like the Cuban embassy workers, blah blah blah. And then he took his little scope thing and he went boop, boop, and he would not look into either ear. So, and I noticed this because that's why I was there, right? That's why I was there. And I even probably said it like on a video. And so I'm very, very suspicious. I don't know about both ears. It seems like it because I have leads all over my clavicles on both sides. So it seems logical, but they already had a bunch of implants in my teeth. So I'm saying this, and this is 100%. They had implants in my teeth and then some other biometrics in my body. But then when I went to that stomach doc, when I was almost killed by targeting, then they like doubled up. And I'm not sure if they put some in the ears because they already had some in the teeth. This is going to sound insane to I think even target individuals, but I think they do. I think it's unbelievable to me. But the doctors, this is why I say I don't think a lot of the doctors have any idea, because that doctor would not have doubled up in both of my ears or one of my ears and stuff like that if I already had implants and he knew that this guy now, this human operator, they're trying, like, I've broken the biometrics. I've broken them all, broken them to a certain point, right? But they're like, I'll hear them turn them up. It'll be like a humming on the V2K. Like, I'll hear when I'm shutting them down, it'll be a humming, like, and it'll be the same thing when it comes back up. So I'm like, I'm hearing this difference in it, but I've only broken them to a certain point. But it makes me really suspicious about the left ear. And the problem is the one in the colon and the left ear, they're far in there. So I got this huge magnet, but it's not like right on top of them, and so it'll wear them down. But it's like they can pop back up, right? Um, and I wanted to let y'all know. And I think if I do, I don't know. I'm thinking about things, and I'm definitely gonna post. But like, I've got to get myself. These things are even depowered. Like, is my point. Like, even sitting there with magnets, like, they'll try and mutilate. Like, they're mutilating the nervous system, because they're like, I've got biometrics in this shoulder, so it'll just start pulling the muscles when I'm not mind controlled, and they're just trying to, like, cause a heart attack, or hurt my body so much, wear me down, right, so that my body goes out. The only thing they have left right now is all the torture, all the damage they've done to my body, in my brain so far. I'm like, if I had done this, that's a very important point that I want to make. If this was 2014 or 2015, I'd be like having balloons up and everything. They just hurt me real bad for that long-term period of time, and now I'm dealing with it, so it's really hard. But if it was like 2015, I'd be like, oh man, I got adrenaline left, and they haven't knocked me down past my own boundaries, right? Where they kick your ass so bad, you're like, you like have to, like, regenerate, but the rubber band snapped, right? Um, I don't know. I guess target individuals who have it real bad will understand that. Also, just don't want to freak anybody out, because I'm speaking out. They're really scared. This is stupid, and I guess it's just because, like, I'm so just say what's happening. But they're very worried about that. It's like so fearful of people speaking out. So I want to say it like that. I don't want to say, like, their violent reactions to that really makes it difficult for me, because I want to do this experiment with defenses, get this stuff knocked down, so I can go, hey, this works, guys, blah, 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 blah. They want an example of me where I'm like saying, oh, it worked. And then, like, I have to tell the truth. I have to say, well, they kicked it into high gear, even the broken ones, and they did something right. So it's complicated like that. Um, demons, like demon trash. Like, anyone who works for this program is like demon soulless trash. And you're gonna hurt more than just this country. You're gonna hurt the world. And the way that they do this is the demons that do this are completely selfish. Like, the guy on my V2K, like, I'll say, look at all the stuff that's happening in the world. I mean, they're killing kids, and this trans stuff that's the worst thing ever. I'm not saying trans people, they're people, but to saturate this, because I've noticed, other than like my faith and my morals, like, my core biology of being a man and wanting to get married and have children has been something that has stabilized me through the darkest parts of being tortured and mind controlled, right? It's given me a reason to move on, and a goal, right? And God instilled that in me, right? God created me as a man. And I said, okay, I'm a man. And I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I identify with a lot of strong women. I have a masculine, feminine thing going on. That's why I'm not a lunatic. But I think that's what a lot of men are doing. Like, it's just like me. Like, I'm not a woman, but I relate to some feminine, and I think they're using that every man has to get the stupid men to wear dresses and then go into, locker rooms and stuff. It's bad. It's bad. I don't care if you think it's bad biologically for the kids that they're doing it to, when they start, because they don't know the priority warfare and bioweapons and stuff like that. When they have to start dealing with that kind of stuff, they're not going to have their core biology. This is after, like, maybe they'll commit suicide, even if they're not targeted. But if they go through dark things, that's something that's really, God uses that to center me and send me on a goal, right? It's bad. It's bad. Not trans people. There's certain situations where people are born with both, and we need to be open to that. We need to be compassionate to those people. And there's going to be people who do it on their own in life, but we don't need to be. It's paid for. Like the globalist institutions pay hospitals and pay corporations and everything. This isn't just happening. None of this is just happening. This is social engineering on a large scale. This is it, our society's illegitimate. So if you believe that you should be free and that you should be able to decide what you want to do, and the founding fathers' idea of the country is what we should live as, right? And even in other countries that you should be free. That's over. It's illegitimate. They're trying to get it. They're social engineering to a point where they're manipulating people in society, but they want to get it to a certain point where they control what we think and no feelings, no feelings. I'm a buffoon and not worthy of going into the New World Order because of my morals and my feelings, right? And you are too, if you have morals and feelings. And even they do this, and I don't know if it's real, but the woman on there will go, oh, I don't want to do this. I want to let this guy go. This is getting way too serious. It's not what I signed up for. The guy will go, you need to disconnect from your feelings. He tells her that. He says you're getting too emotional about it. And they've been on me for like 12 years. It's been this human operating shift team with the Chatterbox AI. So anybody with emotions on that team, even if they don't, even the Chatterbox has tricked me. There's somebody there who really wants to free me and stuff like that. But there is somebody there who is distasteful. They don't want to do it anymore. It's gone too far, right? But those people, they just say, you're getting too emotional about it. Because those Satanists, those Masons, they erase their emotions, erase their higher brain functions. This is the point I wanted to make. I know I'm rambling around. I am feeling better, but it's a big change. Like I've gone through a lot of mind control, and it's like once they get something really up still, even though I'm breaking them, it'll be like my mind's frozen, like my brain's frozen, and I can't, my visual cortex, like I can think of things and say things, but it's like being mind blind. I guess that's a good term for it. I was watching Daredevil, and I was like, I'm kind of like mind blind, but God's given me these sixth sense, like not psychic abilities, but things just instincts, divine instincts. So God's replacing everything that they're taking away. That He's coming through the cracks, right? These targeters, these people, they're gonna make cracks in you. This is so far. This is brutally mutilating you when you're trapped and you can't defend yourself. So don't feel like less of a human being. Don't feel like you're losing, because I've felt that. As a normal human being, I feel like I'm losing to these evil people, right? That's not the case. These people have completely unfairly done this. They're propped up by the state. They're the weakest of us. And if you were in a room with them, you'd beat the shit out of them, and there'd be no problem. Um, Kind of had an important point, and they kind of took it from me, and it was very important. And I know I'm kind of rambling, but I wanted to go off on that point, and then I kind of forgot. Oh, I wanted to say this. We work at high resonance, right? Like high frequency. That's when God comes in, right? When you're joyous, you're happy. And I apologize about being in this little corner for my video, but I'm holding my magnet. It's like on the back of my clavicle, and there's these huge leads and like a pool, like a big circular leads, like right in each the back of each clavicle, where the biometric like is amplified up the back of my neck into my inner ear, right? And then I still have ones in my teeth, but I think the mamma jammas or the colon, it's like a boom boom. It's like a little upside down pyramid, which is probably why this Mason cultist is like has to kill me or something because he's a jerk retard cult member. But it's like there's one in my colon, there's something in my belly button, and then down it's like this network, this bio. It's like a body area network, right? Oh man, I wish I would have listened to Millicent and I hadn't heard what Dr. Robert Duncan had said. I so wish that, because I would have just been like, well, I need to check for that, right? But I just kind of like, oh, well, that's not me. She has a body area network, but I listen to Robert Duncan. That's probably what I have. But we work it. Let me go back to this point. My brain's like working better, but it's going to be a healing process. So I'm rattled. I'm still rattled. Um, my emotions are a big thing. They use our emotions against us. That's the biggest thing. So the chance that they're targeting psychopathic people is very slim. They may do it, but they want to get us. They want to get people who are good because you have a lot of emotions and they can use that. Like if I had been, if I could, get rid of my emotions like the way that I do it and do better, but I've refused because I need those to enjoy all the good stuff in life. I'd rather them abuse me with those emotions and, get through it. But that's what they use. They use emotions. Like you can logically know someone on the chatterbox is not even they like not who they say they are, but you emotionally connect with it, right? And that's where they get you on the chatterbox. Um, so you got to just ask God for help. God's given me ways to just anesthetize, but keep my emotions. And I want to say we work at high resonance. This is a very important point. Um, this is a very important point, guys. Um, we work at high resonance. All of this mind control is ELF. All of this mind control, it needs to traumatize you. They're traumatizing the population of the world right now by all these systematic failures and false flags and pandemic. It's mass trauma. And then they're going to hook up everybody. And if you don't believe it, you don't believe it. It's going to be a long process, but they're hooking up everybody. This trauma is the process of lowering the resonance of the human being, right? That does something that disconnects us from a biological divine necessity. We need to be connected to our creators in the chain of command up to the God above all in the name of Jesus Christ. I'll talk about that in more detail. I think y'all basically know my beliefs. Good and a chain of creation. But the problem with this mind control is that it's extremely low frequency and they have to destroy you. They have to destroy your biology. They have to destroy biology, how we know, like they're going one step further, right? We know we have to eat healthy food and we know we have to feel energetic and we know our ATP has to be working good. We know certain sciences, but we don't understand these biofield sciences. Then past that, there are sciences and they are using those one step past us, right? And sweeping the rug out from under them, right? And inverting them so that we'll be unhealthy and they'll be able to kill us. This is a genocide. This is a worldwide genocide. I don't know how many people they plan on killing, right? But we've already seen the killing. It's just happening when they inject somebody or something like that. Then they go home and they die quietly, or a target dying in their sleep or something. But it's a genocide, right? Everybody's talking bullshit on TV. If you don't know that, it's happening. It's happening. So kind of and it sucks and we don't want to deal with it, but I didn't want to deal with being targeted when I was like 12 years old. And I did. And I carried Crohn's disease on my back. A lot of y'all had the same situations, right? You didn't want to be targeted, but you have to go through it. So these people in our society that are marshmallow and they're comfortable doing their communism and microwave and stuff, y'all need to go through it too if you want to survive, if you want our species to survive. Because we have a food chain where the people who are making decisions want to eat us. They want us gone. They're not our friends, and they're building a system that's poison against us. This is it. I say that kind of stuff, and I am depressed, but I've learned this. God can turn any negative into a positive, right? He can turn depression into you see what's wrong. Then he brings you out of that depression and you still have that stuff in your pocket of what's wrong, right? So God can turn any negative into a positive. Trust me on this. But we're high resonance. That's how God made us. To be healthy, to get the signals from Him, to get the signals from His angels. We have to be high resonance. So that's the first thing they want to do: traumatize low resonance. And all of this mind control technology, and this is also for you people targeting, or you things targeting people. And maybe you don't know, maybe you think you're doing something good. They're going to have to lower the resonance and destroy the health of the entire species to get it to where they can do this mind control, because they stole the technology and they don't know how to create. This technology was given to Nikola Tesla by angels, by our creators, to advance us, and it was stolen to destroy us, to back engineer us and create a bunch of plastic artificial life that has no emotions and is not really living and wouldn't even consider that a life. These are long-term plans, so I don't want anybody to freak out. Like, it's not going to happen tomorrow. We're going to be around for a while. They're doing processes, and it can be stopped. And I think it will be stopped. And I'm going to be part of that. And you're going to be part of that. We're going to be part of stop because we have some crucial information. That's why this is like making this video to my attackers and how they built this up. And this is not a psyop. They This is different for me. It's a little bit different for me. They've made it into like it's military black ops like wet work, and I'm like a huge terrorist, like because nobody sees me. They just like I'm being murdered, and I'm kind of out of my, I go hang out with my family, but nobody knows in the city. They can just call anybody anything, right? That's one of the things that I've learned about kind of this Satanism that's running our system. Anything is anything. Like they'll murder children, but they'll go, it's good for the environment. They'll butcher people in their sleep, but and this is interesting. This guy on my equipment that's microwaving me, when I go to sleep and he's torturing me in my sleep, he's a scientist. He's got to do this, and it's a scientific job. Now, when I'm awake and I'm yelling at him, and he's like, he feels like he acts like he's some kind of military authoritative warrior. So he just kind of whichever one fits him at the time, right? If he's going to be a coward as a military man, then he's a scientist, right? But if he's going to be, but then if he's like kind of beat my ass or whatever, then he's not a scientist. Then he's a military guy, and he's a big guy, right? Excuse me. I'm a little bit like my brain is changing because it's been held down by the mind control, and that's all kind of shifting, and God's coming in. God has angels. God doesn't just send me angels around me. He sends angels inside of me. He sends energy. Okay, and my attackers just said something nasty. He sends like just like these MFers are in your brain, like a serial killer. You don't think God's gonna send you the Holy Spirit through every cell in your body to fight these serial killers? This serial killer inside of my brain and my body, and I'm the bad guy. You don't think God's gonna give you a balance to that? God is gonna give you balance to that. You gotta move towards it. So I guess I just wanted to say that I am like I just yelled at my attack. It was right when I woke up. Right when I wake up, they try and get me because the magnet was like on my back, and then they can get the biometrics up just enough to get me like real angry, and I can't even help it. But then it peters out, and then I use the mags all day, and it's like, and it keeps lowering the level. I think at this point, what I'm going to do though, I know probably a lot of y'all are kind of getting tired of my constant updates, and to non-targeted individuals, it definitely makes us look crazy. Like I understand this stuff, guys. I know some of y'all are like, oh, he's talking about biometrics and like doing, and it makes us look bad. There's some things that are more important. If it's happening to another targeted individual, I have to look a little bit crazy to like give them some resources, some defense, right? And some of you may not need it. Some of you may not be going through the kind of the same intensity or the same way, or it's different, right? And you're like, I wish he would just do that. But sometimes like God speaks to me, he's like, you're going to look a little bit crazy, but this is going to give information to those target individuals that are in really bad situations. So I want to explain that. I want to explain why sometimes I don't give a crap if I look crazy. I do. I've started with the mind control. They've started to make me feel it's like eating the fruit of good and I'm not saying making a deal with the devil or anything, but I always just did what was right, and that was cool, and I didn't think about what other people thought at all. But with this, it's so crazy, and they're like, it's real morbid what they're doing to me. So I'm like, people are gonna see this and maybe not, those kind of things, and they've gotten in there with the mind control and kind of played around with that. So I think a little bit more before I act, which may be good. God may just use what they're trying to do, and it may turn out for a good thing, right? Keep that in mind that some of these bad things that you think is curses may turn around completely. Even on a big scale is what I'm thinking of. Well, I just, thinking of it because I just thought of us, what's happening to the world, right? The species, it's so bad, it might just be a wake up call. And we'll lose a lot of great lights, but and I don't understand that, and I don't want that, but it may wake up humanity to really find our place, right? I'll say this in theory terms. We've got to take our place in the food chain. On this earth, there's a food chain, and the what's on top of us in the food chain is trying to wipe us out. But what our creators want for us, and God above all, in the name of Jesus Christ, and they're going to be doing stuff too, right? The Bible says it. Jesus is coming back. I really believe those things. I don't know how they're going to play out, but I believe in those things. But what our creators want and what they've extended to me all the way up from God above all in the name of Jesus Christ is it's time to find your place, and you're going to have to fight. And this is the real way the world is. And you in the United States, we were pampered. Our founding fathers were so brilliant that they built a system that was just so intelligent that it protected the good people, and bad people either had to go along with the good or they got thrown in jail or executed, right? They flipped that. These Cretans on the top, they flipped what our founding fathers like. So think about how good our country is and how much it's standing against this stuff because our founding fathers were geniuses. But what they want to do is the exact opposite, right? They don't want people to be free. They don't care if you're not doing anything to anybody. They want to control everybody, especially threats to their power, which is truth tellers. That's the biggest weapon you have right now. If you do not, and let me tell you, let me say this, and all the people watching me know this because I say this all the time. Going out and doing violence, what has that done? We've seen these false flags. What's real, what's not? That's a question. But if you really do something like that, what you're doing, if you do violence, you're making everyone who's going through what you're going through, you're putting them in danger of being labeled as that. And that's that, because that's the kind of media world and the communication world that we live in. Everything's projected out. So doing violence of any kind, if it's not going to be assured to look like you're in the right, it will be used against like not just you, but everyone who's like you. So we can't do that. God's asymmetrical warfare is what we need to do. We have asymmetrical warfare. We have certain kinds of energy and biology that we're not aware of yet that they're trying to use against us. But for us targeted individuals, now's the time to reach further and ask for God to just, we might not be able to put a name on it, right? But God will let you feel the power of that. And it is completely real. So I just wanted to say that. I didn't want to come off as like, oh, I've destroyed the biometrics because I don't want to I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie to y'all. I want to help everybody. It's been massive though. It's been massively good, but because of the kind of my situation's a little bit, it's a lot worse. Not a lot worse than some of you. I'm not comparing pain or anything, but the people on there, the guy thought I was such a slam dunk that he really made it big, and he's put Pete contractors on my parents and my family and everything, and he just thought it was such a slam dunk, and now I'm breaking them, and they're just like, there's no way to just let him go because we fucked up, we effed up and made it so big, right? Which may be the case with all of us. I'm not quite sure because we don't have any kind of we can speak out, but there's a lot of people who are very brave and they're very strong, but they're not speaking out because it's not smart. Like I'm not saying don't speak out, but you need to know it's not smart. Like I'm an intelligent guy, and every time I'm like, this is not, but it will help people, and it's the only way. So that's what's happening in our society. Nothing that you can do that's right and that's going to turn this around is very smart for the short term. None of it. None of it. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt to do the right thing. But that's the point, right? We have no other choice, and we have to fight these evil people. If you want to be comfortable for now, but experience a much darker fate for the long term, you can do evil and get in with these groups, right? And I'm speaking to the people doing this stuff. You need to turn around now. You can turn around now for your eternal soul. And I'm not talking about some area, I'm talking about scientific. You will live, you will go on to infinity if you make the right choices in different natures of energy, heaven, right? In the name of Jesus Christ. But if you go the other way, I'm not quite sure. I'm not attached to that. I don't have any information on this way, but I have a feeling of what happens, right? And I've read the Bible, and I know what my dad says, and I know what my tradition says, and it's on the right trajectory. That other way, I'm not sure of, but I know it's really bad. I know you could maybe lose your infinity. So it's this ironic. inverted thing where they're like, become immortals and be in our group and be in our cult, and they're taking everything from you. They're taking your not just your life on Earth. They're taking everything, and you get a little bit of like I tell this guy that your power is surveilling a dude on the toilet. That's what Satan gave you, and he kind of agrees with me, but he's like, I just got to do it anyway, you know. All right, guys, I think that's all. I'm getting to about 40 minutes. Just wanted to update. I'm getting through this, but it's a long thing, and I'm going to kind of move on to other subjects. Um, it's dangerous right now. I'd rather what I want to do. I only have 40 minutes left, but I wanted to just get away from my attackers and then talk about this stuff, so I didn't have them reacting to everything. And I think that's if I say that's possible, then I'm going to get reamed on here. But we can do this, guys. Like we can do this. I have some dark moments, man. This is and then the guy says he's getting depressed. Like as he's murdering me, he'll say I'm getting depressing because of like the damage he's doing to me. I mean, it's pretty. I've kind of gotten out of their grasp, and I'm like, could they get one up? You know, like that. Okay, I'm getting to like 41 minutes, and I got to put this up on every channel. I love you guys. I'll be posting and stuff like that. Um, but this is a war. So I've told y'all kind of my deal. I've told y'all my deal. I love y'all. Keep fighting. Reach towards God. He will give you ways to do this. He will give you ways, and He will give you infinite strength. Don't be corrupted by them. Push your resonance back up, no matter how low, because they've made me scream stuff. And I'm not even me, you know. Not this time, but like way, like a year ago. All right, I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.